How are you all doing this evening?
Okay, good. How are you?
I'm doing good to be here with you all and hear your vibration. Who was that first spiritual experience you'd like to share with us?
I have a question, Messiah.
Okay.
I have a newcomer want to explain her thoughts on that's only one God.
Okay, you see you have a new what? A new student?
Yes, she thinks that there's only one God.
There is only one ultimate. There's one creator of all creators. Is she on the phone with us now?
Jesus, of course. Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, is our God.
All right, hold up now. The sister that wants to know about one God, you're here, right?
What you just say?
Jeez. You want to know if there's one God, right?
There is one Father. There is one God.
There is one God. That's I understand, sister. You know, I can let you teach the class. Okay.
Hey, I'm just here. First off, I'm just
here
listening in.
Yeah, I love you. Okay, sister. Okay, let me explain. Though, as you know, the concept of religion teaches there's a Trinity, right? And they speak about three gods in one: God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost, or the three names and other belief systems. Also, when you open up to you, I assume you're a Christian. Am I right? Sister, I said I assume you are a Christian of Christian faith, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, doesn't your Bible teach? It begins with, and God said, "Let us create man in our image and in our likeness." That's all like a polarity to you.
That's what goes on. Yes, sir.
That's what goes on.
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask, why are you so determined to believe there's only one God?
You
have your King James Bible with you?
It's not even just about the Bible or about religion. It's about having faith. And when you have faith and know what He has done, you know, everybody
you are where the people
their own belief.
I understand, but you know, a person, sister, we can sing together. Okay, but you know, it's not possible. A person can believe in a thing 100% and be 100% wrong. You know that, right? But facts are different. That's not faith. All right? But yes, there is one ultimate source creator. But it's not known to religion. The real ultimate creator as one is called Kalun or Pop or Fa'u. You hear me? Now, what that definition of that is, the best you can get in earth terminology would be all. A-L-L. Meaning you can't add to it because where would you get it from? And you can't take away because where would you put it? Are you following me? Whenever you get into religious doctrine, whether it be Islam, Buddhism, or Christianity, you're going to deal with multiple gods. You follow what I'm saying? Alihat, more than one. But yes, you're right, there is one. In other words, that's why there's no incongruity. You don't have a taller sky to the left and a lower one to the right, because there's only one mind. There's not two converging ideas that complicate things. This is all unified field theory, oneness, for one God. Now, I see that your mind is opening up, and I appreciate the fact that you're here. So what would be your first question, sister? What would you really like to know?
Better? Excellent. Good. He can't save me. He can't make my life better. He can't.
You say I can't save you?
He can't work miracles.
I can't work miracles? You know that that's a fact, right?
What can he do?
What if I told you that tonight?
It's something other than a higher power. He didn't create earth and what's on this earth. And life.
You don't know what? Okay, I can't agree with that. Okay, count them out. But what I'm saying is this: before the night is over, if you have the courage to stay, you'll see me perform miracles, and I'll do one with you. I'm going to allow you to move any star or the moon you see in any direction you want tonight. Not tomorrow or the next day. I'm not Reverend Rip Deacon Pork Chop and Pacified Chicken. I am the real Messiah. Now, in your belief, let me say something. In your belief, you've been going to church every Sunday talking about the return of Jesus, right? Isn't that your belief? That Jesus is coming back?
The Almighty. Come on now.
This is the Messiah, man. You're not even listening.
I'm saying that, isn't it your belief, sister, that you're waiting for the return of Jesus? That he will come back. He will return in the final days, right? My sister?
Well, I'm trying to wake her up. She's not being very cooperative right now.
I believe anything.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. Well, I know that you believe in the return of Jesus, right? So what you're saying is that you believe Jesus is coming back and these are the last days. But what you don't believe is that it's me. That's what you mean. You positive it's not me, right? I can't be his word made flesh dwelling among men. Not me. Because I'm barred by what, my race, nationality, or my level of intellect, my what? We just met. So how are you positive it's not me and why can't I be the Savior? And it's true. Even the Jesus you're waiting for is back right now. He can't save everybody because you have some rebellious, stiff-necked people in the world, fallen angels. The Most High said if he brought the heavens down in layers, they would call it nothing but piled up clouds. So I hope that you have some questions tonight so that you can probe me and discover who I am really. Before you just make a statement, a bold statement like that, like I can't save you and I can't perform miracles. Because if you know that in advance, then I have to say that you're probably God. Which is not a stretch, because if you go to John 10 in the Bible, verses 30 through 36, Jesus speaking to the Jews in the first person, Jesus said, I and my Father are one. The Jews took up stones again to stone him. He said, many good works have I shewed you for my Father, but which of those works did ye stone me? They said, for good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, that thou being a man, maketh thyself God. Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law, I said, ye are gods, small g-s, plural. And if he called them gods, unto whom the word of God, capital D, singular came, and the scriptures cannot be broken. Psalms 82, verse 1, God, capital D, singular, stands in the congregation of the mighty. He judges amongst the gods, small g, o-d-s, plural. Verse 6, Psalms 82. God, amongst the gods. Okay, he said that ye are gods and all of you are children of the Most High. Right? Let me ask you a question. Aren't you a child of God in your belief system?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me ask another question. If a dog have a puppy, what does the puppy grow up to be, ma'am?
A dog.
Right? So if you're the child of God, what do you grow up to be?
God. Grow up to be a God.
That's right. So that would mean there's more than one. If we are indeed gods, created in the image and likeness. So in other words, if I take a Polaroid of you, and you in the image and likeness of God, then I must be taking a Polaroid of God, right?
Right.
If you assume that God is a physical being. But the truth of the matter is that the aspect of you that belongs to God is nothing that we can see, hear, feel, smell, taste, or touch. Because he created you, sister, of solid clay, black mud, fashioned into shape, and made complete your form and blew his breath into your nostrils, and thus you became a living soul. That soul is created from the Ruach, or the Espiritus. The spirit is an angelic being. You were on Malachite, on the spiritual realm in heaven as an angelic being, a simple electromagnetism. You understand? And when your mother and father made you, conceived of you, before they came together in any physical sense, 3 months prior to that, the spiritual aspect of you, which is the blueprint for the physical form, is placed inside of your mother and father, so that you actually had a 12-month term and not a 9-month term. They know that's why your birth is not every 9 months, but every 12 months, because they know that your gestation period is 12 months. So as a spiritual being inside the womb of your mother, when she was pregnant, as she walked the earth plane, there were brothers and sisters and people that had died and were deceased prior to that. And as their body broke down into tiny particulates, it would work its way up through the soil and flow freely in the meticulous of the atmosphere. And women have a special organ in their nasal cavity, so that when they inhale these particles, when she's pregnant, it sips out all that's required to reanimate the flesh of the child, called for by their DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, their code, their DNA code. And everything else is relieved through mucus discharge. That's why many pregnant women have heavy mucus discharge. Now, the particles that's required to make the child in the image and likeness that God planned is circulated through her bloodstream all the way around to the fetus, which is a spiritual being, only a light being, but it's a magnetic light. And the particles they cling to the light like pieces to a puzzle until they form a hand, a leg, a foot, a body. You follow what I'm saying? Now, after 12 months, the baby goes term and is usually born. When the baby is born, even after the cord is cut, the umbilical cord is cut, it's still a spiritual entity. It's not a physical being because it doesn't belong to the solid, actual, natural earth realm. It's still a spiritual entity because it doesn't use the sun outside. It uses the internal sun in its abdomen and the solar plexus, and it's not breathing air in the atmosphere. It's using its lungs. It's not using lungs because it just born out of the amniotic fluid. The mother's womb was full of water, and it was using gills. You've seen these pictures where you see babies born underwater breathing with gills. I was one of them. But now, in order for it to belong to this physical realm, the doctor turns the baby upside down and spanks the baby. And that pain causes the baby to cry. And in order to cry, it has to inhale oxygen, which is a flammable gas. And that oxygen, along with secum, or prana described by the Greeks, is pumped around the arterial circulatory system until it hits that central sun in your solar plexus, which is a fire that burns inside of you. That's the light that lights the heart of every man and woman that comes in the world. That's the light that shines in the darkness, and the darkness comprehends it not. There's proof of a chemical fire burning in you because when you inhale oxygen, you exhale carbon. Or you can burn calories. Or you can have a fever. Or if a person supposedly died, you can cold because that spirit of pride light leaves the body. Now, when that oxygen and that prana hit that internal sun, that fire inside of you, it ignites a spark that starts a tumbling, like when you turn the ignition in the car, that binds that spirit to the mud of your flesh to create the living soul. You understand? And then you begin your zero time reference here on earth. That's day one of of being an earthling. But prior to that, you were an angelic being. Are you following me? And you're still a twofold being right now. God is inside the temple, which is not a building down the street, but the place on the side of your head next to your ears, and your eyes and windows to the soul. You follow me? The real temple is the place on the side of your head next to your ears, and your eyes and windows to the soul, as I just said, right? Now, during the day, the two aspects of you, the spirit and the body, are like two equally matched warriors grappling for dominance. You know, like angel on one shoulder and the devil on the next. So you're undecided about a lot of things, like what you're going to have for lunch, whether it's something haram or forbidden or something that's healthy for you. God is going to always make the right choice, but the devil is carnal and makes the wrong decision. So you use your free will to choose which one that you're going to eat, the salad rather than the pig foot. But sometimes the argument gets so heated inside you that you start talking out in the open. And your child is in the next room and say, confused, Mama, who you talking to in there? And you laugh and confess, child, you caught me. I'm in here talking to myself. The child is further confused because he thought it was one being in there, but it's actually two. It's the spiritual aspect of God that he shared and you became, and then the carnal flesh was just a mud clinging to the light. Your lower carnal self. And one or the other has to rule or win. Now, during the day, this jihad, the internal war, constantly goes on. But at night, when the physical brain and the body shuts down from slumber, that spirit never sleeps, so it raises up in vibration. And it acts freely on the flesh because it's not at war anymore with your lower aspect. And that ball of light that's in your solar plexus travels up the light cord of your spine. That's Jacob's ladder. It has 33 notches, and it corresponds to what you describe as 33 degrees in Freemasonry, 7 seats, shields, or chakras. When that light passes up the pineal gland, well, the lotus breastplate in your chest, then it gets to the laryngeal, it goes to the pineal gland, or what you call the third eye, and it reaches up to the crown molar every night, the soft spot on top of a person's head, where you have an etheric cord attached to it. A thin, transparent, hollow tube about the diameter of a thread is cobweb-like, that's attached to the top of your head. That ball of light raises up into the temple at the mouth of that tube and raises up in vibration every night, causing that tube to expand at the opening like a woman dilating to give birth. Then that spiritual light, which is the aspect of you that belongs to God, travels out of the temple into that hollow tube, which people with near-death experiences describe as going through a tunnel. Then sometimes you have a sensation like you're flying and floating what you think is a dream. You go to see all kinds of people sometimes you've never met before, etc. After you get through traveling an astral flight, you slide back down that tube and pop back into your head and reanimate your flesh. But sometimes people try to move too quickly and they don't get that light a chance to assimilate back into their body. And then they can't move. And your grandparents thought it was a witch riding your back. But that's actually sleep paralysis, because you have to be patient enough to allow that light, the true light, to travel back down the light cord of your spine, and you're properly reseated in the solar plexus in order to trigger electrical impulses so you can eventually move fingers and hands and toes and feet so you can stand up and operate that body again. Are you following me? That's how you're a twofold being, and God is inside of you. My point is that we're not in the image and likeness of God in the physical form. How could we be when some are black, some are white, some are men, some are women, some are old, some are young? I'm telling you tonight that we're in the image and likeness of God in our inner being, which is a ball of light, a thick light about the size of your fist in your solar plexus. God is inside of you. You understand? The kingdom of heaven is within you. Are you following me? Now, do you have any more questions, right? Do you have any questions that, whatever you want to know, pre-chance, you might be with somebody that can answer all your questions tonight. Is there life after death? Are there extraterrestrials? What are angels? Who is God? What do you want to know, sister?
It's like she got married and walked off.
She walked off?
Yeah.
Okay, well then she's not trying to wake up. She don't want to know the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
She wants to wander aimlessly on in her contumacy. She wants to walk aimlessly on in her contumacy, convincing herself that she already has the truth.
Exactly.
What she has is weak beliefs. She has beliefs. She doesn't have any facts at all.
I'm trying to wake people up, but
I know you're trying. It's not easy to do.
It's so hard right now.
How can belief be that strong?
It is that strong because they've been programmed just like you and I have. One example is slavery. It's like slavery.
Messiah, this is the truth. Messiah,
yeah, it is. But
trying to explain to her.
I don't blame her for not accepting that. I don't blame her for not accepting that, but I do blame her for not giving me an opportunity to show her who I am. Our people have faces with Jim Jones, but they don't have no faces with one another. You see?
She's talking about this Heavenly Father crap bullshit. I don't want to hear that. I'm trying to get you the keys. You know what I'm saying?
I understand, but she's not ready to be saved. But it is, she's gonna be left behind.
Yeah, see
that indeed.
With all that false belief she got.
God damn.
And she don't want no guidance. But I'm not giving people supposition and mythology and conjecture. I prove what I say. Just like I told her. She told me that I can't perform miracles and I can't save her. I asked her, I said, if you just have faith with me that tonight, you and I will perform miracles.
She stuck
she
on
just
that,
walked off.
She stuck on that. She got mad, walked off. I was telling her how you can move stars and stuff like that. That's what she was.
I understand. Well, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand how it is that they spend their life in a belief system where they profess to believe that Jesus is going to return in the last days, and they can look at the signs in Revelation and see that we're in the last days right now. Wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places. You can't tell one season from another, brother against brother, father against son. All these things are coming to pass, so she knows these are the signs of the last days. So where's this Jesus she's been believing is coming back? What I was asking her, is your problem that you can't believe it's me, or that you can't believe you're worthy of meeting him?
Yep, and I was telling her when I want God to come back. She was
say it again. Somebody had a question.
This is Kim. I was telling her if she waiting for that one God to come back, she's mistakenly wrong.
Well, the one God she's talking about does not give form to what is formless. He's not going to reduce himself down to a man or a woman, and he can't. Because all is the Most High sovereign oneness. And understand me very clearly. All would no longer be all if he became less than all. You follow me? You can't take away from it. Where would you get it from? You can't add to it. All is all, and it remains just that. But he can inspire. He can blow his spirit into a man by way, W-A-H-Y, of inspiration. And make him be his word in flesh to dwell among men, to answer such questions, and to perform miracles, and to heal the sick, and to do all the things that will guide them back to reality and lead them back to their long home, to the real God, which is not a physical being. I tell you, we are enigma, meaning wherever you're sitting in your house right now, if you can see another empty seat in that room, if you can use your imagination and imagine that I put your soul in that other empty chair, your spirit, your memories, your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, your personality, if I put all that in that other empty chair, what would be left on the phone here with us? Nothing but that fungus that's clinging to the light, that empty vessel. I tell you what you are. You're everything except that body. That's what you are not. Because without the things I just mentioned, that body would be without repose. It's like a car without a driver. It's an empty shell. And people are dedicating their life to that thing. It's only a fungus clinging to the light. But everything that I put in that chair that belongs to you, and I describe your soul, spirit, your etheric aspect, etc., it doesn't have a gender, it doesn't have an age, it doesn't have a race. You can't see it. And that's the image and likeness of God. You can't see him. He's not a part of this illusory reality. And believe me, the unseen is realer than the seen. Anybody doubt that? Because I'll prove it for you real quick. Anybody want to prove?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. You remember in the Bible when it said, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things yet unseen. Through faith we understand that the worlds were formed by the word of God, so that things that are seen were not made by things which do appear. Right? The beginning of that, faith is the substance of things yet unseen. So when you were a little boy and you dreamed about a BB gun or a bicycle, you kept looking at magazines, seeing your friends with them, and it kept going into your imagination. You dreamed about it until you woke up one day and that bicycle was, and you had that bicycle or that car was parked in the driveway, your first car. That hoopty might have been 3 different tones in the color, had bald head tires, but it was yours. And you'll notice that when you started driving that first car, everywhere you went, you started seeing cars just like yours, because you were still in creation mode. So you thought the car was made out of rubber and iron and metal, etc., but it was made out of your faith, your belief in it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence when the car is parked in the driveway of things at that point that were yet unseen. Now, it went on further to say, through faith or belief, we understand that the worlds, meaning the sun, moon, and stars, or your hand on the phone, through faith we understand that the worlds were formed by the word of God. Say to a thing, be, and it is. So that things that are seen, such as the sun, moon, and stars, your hand on the phone, were not made by things which do appear. Meaning, if I send you outside tonight to look outside and ask to point to a star, and you say, yeah, Brother Amun, I see that star up there. Can you point to it? It's right there. That star was created. We agree?
Yeah.
But if I ask you to point to the creator of that star and tell me where he is, can you point to him and say, there he is over there?
No.
All right. So what we establish is what was created you can see, right? Like your body. But the creator of it is unseen, right?
Right.
Okay. Now here's the real question. Which is realist in your mind, brother, the seen or the unseen?
You said the realist? The unseen.
The realist. In other words,
unseen.
That's right.
Unseen?
Because what he made is not as real as what created it. So that would be the same as asking, is the creation real or the creator of it? Is the made realer than the maker? Can't be. Because nothing can rise above its own source. You understand?
Yes.
So, by that affirmation, what we just discovered is that the unseen is realer than the seen, right?
Yes.
That means the parts of you that I can't see, like your third eye as opposed to your 2 physical eyes, is realer than the parts of you that I can see. Do you understand? Because the Creator is inside of you. He who is within you is greater than he who is in the world. You hear me?
Yes.
Yes, it's real. It's very real. And I'm sorry to drop that on a sister like that. Maybe it was just too much truth coming at once. She might have been overloaded.
Well, she needed to hear that, you know, because I'm getting sick of time people talking about this person they think exists.
Well, I can tell you, son, that's why the Creator created us with 2 ears, 2 eyes, and just 1 mouth. So we could look and listen twice as much as we speak. That's his word may be exalted. That's right, he gave us 2 eyes and 2 ears and just 1 mouth. So we could look and listen twice as much as we speak. But people want to talk more than they look and listen. They always want to make you understand what it is they're trying to explain their point. I was telling a brother today, just like in prayer and in religion, people always praying to God. You know, they want to tell God what they need and what's happening with them and to help them with this, help them with that. Now, these are the same people that profess to believe that God is omnipotent. that he knows everything. You understand? If you believe he knows everything, then what exactly are you telling him that he don't already know, nigga? Stop talking and listen. Meditation is much more powerful than prayer. We have polarity in our mind's eye, our pineal gland. Problem with the world is everybody has a masculine energy they're trying to transmit constantly. They want to let everybody know what they mean, make themselves clear. You don't understand me. Let me make my point. Let me talk. I want to say what I'm trying to say. We'll talk over you. They transmitting instead of telling you, transmitting. They have to calm down and reverse their polarity to a feminine polarity and learn how to receive. Because God is constantly talking to people, but they can't hear him for talking. Like prayers. They steady praying and telling God what they need instead of listening. That's what she want to do. I kept trying to tell her we can sing together, but we can't talk together, sister. She want to talk over me. I can't teach you nothing, and I can't show you. But I know I can't teach you nothing because you all mouth. All right, who has the question? I have a spiritual experience. It was a short one. It was probably Babianoon again. But he was up on a higher platform. It's like we were in a parking garage, and he was on the top, on the second floor, and he was bent over the rail looking down at me. And I was down on the first floor looking up at him, and he looked at me, and he said, "Don't pull, P-U-L-L," and I didn't know what he was talking about. My right hand was by my ear, and I just moved it, and I saw a broken piece of thread, black thread, in the palm of my hand, and I don't know what that meant. Don't pull. That's all he said. Who else has a question? Or spiritual experience?
I have a question.
Yeah. But you got to talk to them. You got to talk to the class, not me.
Class, this is Hotel. I was just asking the Messiah, it would be a good idea to give that sister open invitation back to this class, but be patient enough to let him explain whatever she's trying to find out. Thank you.
And we could do that with all of them. In other words, if everyone would light just one little candle, what a bright world this would be, right? If everyone lit just one little candle, what a bright world this would be. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you all to the Wisdom of Tahuti and read a little bit. Maybe you might become inspired and open up questions on the floor. I love you. I'm going to page 57. The Sacred Wisdom of the Grand Hierophant, Tahuti. There's a question here. Are you in there? You know, is God inside that person? Are you in there? If yes, let's get started. The doctrines of truth are 9. He who knows these overstandingly possesses the magic key, before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open at Kaminu. The 9 Tahuti doctrines upon which the entire Tahuti teaching is based are as follows. 1, the doctrine of mental. 2, the doctrine of correspondence. 3, the doctrine of vibration. 4, the doctrine of polarity. 5, the doctrine of rhythm. 6, the doctrine of cause and effect. 7, the doctrine of gender. 8, the doctrine of growth. 9, the doctrine of breathing. The 9 doctrines will be discussed and explained as I proceed with these studies. A short explanation of each, however, is in place to be given at this point in time in your coming journey. Talun Shil Aglu, 1, the doctrine of mental. 1. Maju Mal Goluki Li Pa Jihura Shil Baru. Mind your mind for the jewels of your soul. This doctrine embodies the right knowledge that all is mental and each has a mind. It explains that Patempta, the all, which is the reality underlying all the outward and inward manifestations and appearances, seen and unseen, which we know under the terms of existence. The material existence, the ethereal existence, the phenomenon of life, matter, energy, ether, and in short, all that is apparent to our material senses. One sense subdivided into many as ka, spirit, ba, soul, cat, body, which in itself is knowable and definable, but which may be considered and thought of as a universal, infinite, living mind in Patempta, all. The threefold you. You have touched your cat, felt it through your ka, and accepted the way it felt through your ba. Cat, kaba. See, hear, taste, smell, and feel are all in cat. Knowing this is in ka, and being able to appreciate it is ba. All these are but touch. All is I am. It also explains that all the phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation in Patempta, all, subject to the laws of created things in physical, and that universe as a whole in its parts or units has its existence in the mind of Patempta, all, as does all in which mind we live and move and have our being, persons, places, and things. I, you, they. This doctrine, by establishing the physical and ethereal mental nature of all things and their physical part in the universe, easily explains all of the varied mental and psychic phenomenon that occupy such a large portion of the public attention, and which without such explanation you end up with blind faith, false hopes and beliefs and spookisms, chasing a ghost god to an unknown and unproven place to receive gifts you are not worthy of, no matter how good you pretend to be, just so you wouldn't get burnt in an eternal fire, hell. So, you made a deal with your God, all which is non-understandable and defies scientific realities. An understanding of this great Egyptian doctrine of mental in relation to mind. Each individual has a mind, which is fed from the same mental reservoir, which enables each individual to readily grasp the laws of the mental and to apply the same to his/her well-being and advancement. That's being in touch with the real God. The ancient Egyptian order student is enabled to apply intelligently and outintelligently the great mental and physical laws instead of using them in a haphazard manner as religions have. With the Ankh master key in his possession, the student may unlock the many doors of the mental and psychic temple of right knowledge, right wisdom, and the right overstanding, and enter the same freely, using the God mind you have, or the mind of mental, which is God. This explains the true nature of energy, power, matter, existence, and why and how all these are subordinate to the mastery of mind. Let me give you an example of that. You go to your friend's house, you're sitting in the living room and having a pleasant conversation. The temperature is 72 degrees. Then he gets up, or she, and goes to the kitchen to prepare some refreshments. There's some lemonade and a little sandwich and chips. While they're gone, you start thinking about some man or woman that did you wrong, ripped you off, or disrespected you in a way that makes you very, very angry every time you think about it. And the more you try not to think about it, the more your mind thinks about it. And you get hotter and hotter. They come back in the room and they find you with perspiration on the tip of your nose, on your forehead, under your armpits, your nostrils flared, veins in your temple, and your breathing is heavier. So if they touch your forehead, it will be actually hotter. So what happened is that just merely thinking about that person made you physically hot. It raised your body temperature. Well, heat is a form of energy. Energy. Understand? So you know that thoughts can create energy. So energy and thought are interchangeable. That's a fact. Now look at the other end of the spectrum. Take a simple, common, everyday item like a cigarette. That's matter. But when you light the cigarette, the heat and light are two forms of what? Somebody.
Energy.
That's right. So that means that matter and energy are also interchangeable. So you remember geometry and algebra? If A plus B, we'll see that. In other words, if thought and energy are interchangeable, and they are, and matter and energy are interchangeable, then you can say to a thing be, and it is, because that means thought and matter are interchangeable. Don't you understand? If you don't, ask the question now, before I proceed. Okay, I'm glad. I love you. I don't like to sound like a whole lot of hocus pocus. A teacher that's talking about stuff that don't make no sense, all right? This explains the true nature of energy, power, matter, existence, and why and how all these are subordinate to the mastery of mind, and that each mind is a slave to mental, the force of ether, which controls the action of matter. One of the old holy masters wrote long ages ago, he or she realizes that all is, and these words are as true for all time. Without this master key, mastery is impossible. And the student knocks in vain at the many doors of the temple and is met by the false teacher of ghosts, spooks, fictions, beliefs, myths, given false hopes, no facts, no truth, just lie after lie. The light is the devil's tool. Darkness is the home of God. Peace, tranquility, and pretend that I can't sleep. Peace, tranquility, and bliss. Find your way back to black. Pa Talun Shilu, Tadu Fun, the doctrine of correspondence. That which is above is the same as that which is below, and both are pa temper, are in pa temper, both are in all. In other words, if you have a thermometer and it has 100 degrees on it, if it's 70 degrees or 30 degrees, don't make any difference because they're both rooted in the same reality. This doctrine embodies the truth that there is always a correspondence between the laws and phenomenon of the various planes of being and life between things. The old axiom ran in these ways: as above, so below; as below, so above. An example of that being, and you being the best example. Above you have a solar system. And in the center, there's the sun, which is the radiant energy that gives life to the planets and everything in the solar system. So you have the sun in the center, which is that life force, the radiant energy. And then you have the planets revolving around it that receive the life-giving rays. Now, actually, the planets are really plan ET, plan extraterrestrial planet, or planes, plane. And the sun is phonetically S-U-N, where that you are also the sun, but they spell you S-O-N to confuse you. And you don't have a solar system, but you have a solar plexus in the center of your body, your abdomen. You have a solar plexus. And you have a central sun inside of you. That's the one I was talking about, that light that lights the heart of every man that comes into the world, a light that shines in the darkness, and the darkness comes in as it not. That's that fire that burns in your stomach, that burns calories, that creates a fever, or spontaneous internal combustion. Yes, you do have a sun inside of your solar plexus. And you have a circulatory system that revolves all the planes around that central sun. And your circulatory system, like the planets revolve around the sun above you. And below you, you have the atom with the quark at the center of it. You have 2 electrons in the first case shell, 4 in the second, 8, 16, 32, etc. So these little electrons revolve around that nucleus center. That quark in the center is the energy that gives life to that small system. So the atom is a small solar system. And they spell it ATOM to confuse you because they know you are atom. ADAM. Right? ADAM is atom. And you're the same as above, so below. You understand? Anybody have questions? Now's the time. Don't let me just go on further and further. That which is above is the same as that which is... I'll do my best.
Could you go more in depth about...
Say it again.
Can you go more in depth about the soul seed atom?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's going to take me off this subject, but all of you are born with 3 soul seed atoms. And they migrate with you personification after manifestation, no matter how many countless years you have in the past and countless years you exist in the future. You keep manifesting and incarnating with those same soul seed atoms. One of those soul seed atoms determines your physical stature, your height, your color, etc., your gender. It's already predetermined because of that soul seed atom. Another one of them determines your environment. You know, whether you be a preacher's son or this or that, whatever, that can determine, shape your personality or the type of person you are. And you can't add 1 inch to your stature or your height. That soul seed atom controls that. And the third soul seed atom is something we refer to as simple terms as free will. That's the only flexible one that you have, whether it's not a fixity. It's not formed in concrete, but you have the free will that the preacher's son can turn out to be the worst child. Or a child born in terrible conditions with horrible parents can turn out to be the best child in the world, if they will to be. That's what and simple as I can put it, the 3 soul seed atoms are. They determine who and what you are. That all right, son?
Yes, sir.
All right. This doctrine embodies the truth that there is always a correspondence between the laws and phenomenon of the various planes of being and life between things. The old axiom ran in these words: as above, so below. As below, so above. This will mislead you into thinking there are 2 directions, when in fact there is no direction at all. In other words, you can't drop anything on earth because earth itself is not lying at the foundation of creation. You have to think about that. This will mislead you into thinking there are 2 directions, when in fact there's no direction at all.
Press star 1 to claim host privileges for this meeting. Press star 6 to mute or unmute yourself. Press star 9 to raise or lower your hand.
Please. Even your own planet Earth is going nowhere, around and back again. So it's called New Nation. Everything goes around and around. And it's building an orb. So as the planets revolve around the sun, they also revolve around on a central axis in a circle. And the solar system revolves around the center of the galaxy, and the galaxy revolves around the universe. Everything's going around and around. In other words, like time is an illusion because it's not moving in a linear sense from past to future. When you're looking at a clock on the wall, it's got a central pin, and it's going around and around in a circle. What goes around comes around. You understand? It's just like a DVD that you play in your DVD player. If somebody puts on a movie, and you come in the middle of the movie, and you miss the beginning of it, and you ask them to rewind the DVD so you can see the beginning, you can go to the past or the future whenever you get ready, when you realize that it's all going in a circle. Because the DVD is a disc, a round circle, and if you rewind it, you go back into the past. Fast forward, you go into the future. Do you understand? That's why when you're taken up by the Anunnaki or the Riskians and the Sham, they have 2 large fans one rotates right, left to right, clockwise, and the other one over your head rotates counterclockwise. Depends on which one they initiate, it'll take you into the past or the future. You understand? That's why I encourage you all to move stars clockwise rather than counterclockwise, because it'll move towards the future rather than the past. And what we're trying to do right now is reconnect you all with your future. All right? Like Kamala Harris said, we don't want to go back. All right. Even your own planet Earth is going nowhere, around and back again, so time is going nowhere. And the grasping of this doctrine gives one the means of solving a many blinding paradox and the many hidden secrets of nature at work in all things. They claim there are planes of existence beyond our knowledge, like heaven or hell, but they would serve no point if you believe Yahweh, Theos, or Allah created all things for you. When we apply the doctrine of correspondence to them, we are able to overstand much that would otherwise be unknowable to us. To correspond, this must take place between two or more things. This doctrine is of universal application and manifestation. Seen, heard, tasted, smelled, and felt things, even planes of things, the various planes of the material, mental, and spiritual universe. It is a universal law under one person's, two places, three things. The ancient Egyptians considered this doctrine as one of the most important mental and physical instruments by which mortals are able to pry aside the obstacles which hid from view of the unknown, that which was lighter than the hydrogen atom. That would be Zelis, charm, etc., or what you call nothing, which is actually something without its atomic number, since hydrogen, one, is the lightest of the atoms in the world that you call things. So if you had a chalkboard, like the teacher had in elementary school, and on the left you drew all the 99 elements down, even though you have 115 right now, Omicron, and heavier elements being discovered every day. The lightest element on the lower right-hand corner would be hydrogen 1, which is an incomplete atom, and it's lighter than air. That's why you don't consider it. It's barely considered something. Like helium 2, it's right next to it. But if you take a helium balloon in a circus and let it go, it fires up because it doesn't have any weight. It's weightless, right? So you consider that nothing, because one of the criteria to say that something exists is that you have to be able to touch it, feel it, smell it, taste it, and weigh it. It has to have weight. So anything so on this side of the chart, on the left-hand side, we would call that the sum of things or something, but we're not going to spell it S-O-M-E-T-H-I-N-G. We're going to spell it S-U-M-T-H-I-N-G, or the sum of things, because every one of these elements have an atomic number, like hydrogen 1, helium 2, iron has 26 heavy particles in it. Makes it much more dense. But on the right-hand side of the chart, we're going to start off with naming that ether 1, ether 2, ether 3. You follow me? Because that'll be the subatomic particles that definitely don't have any weight, like charms, zelis, biapertures, right? So we call that the spiritual realm, or nothing. But we're not going to spell it N-O-T-H-I-N-G. We're going to spell it like that tic-tac-toe for number. Nothing would be things that really exist, but they don't have an atomic number, because they're below hydrogen 1. So the left-hand side of the board would constitute the spiritual plane, which is real. Let me explain why. Because they had a very sensitive scientific experiment where they took men and women that were in the throes of death. Right when they would die, they put them on a large bed that was like a sensitive scale, a highly electronic sensitive scale. Like even an OHA scale, you can put a dot on a piece of paper and the scale will move. And they put them on there, and at the instant that they left their body, or they died, expired, they found out that these people's body would lose like 6 ounces, because the spirit or the soul would leave the body, and they would check her vitals and her pulse and heartbeat, And the doctor cover up her face with a sheet and says she's gone now. Or it's over, which simply means above. But she could be in the room looking at what you're doing, just like on the operating table. But she's no longer in that body. So I'm telling you that your soul and spirit have weight, but it's barely detectable. It's nothing to you. Right? Just like if I ask you to reach out in front of you and grab, and I say, what you got in your hand? You'll say, nothing, Amun. All right. Drive your car down the highway doing 80 miles an hour, and then throw your wide, flat palm out the window and see if that nothing won't knock your hand back. At that rate of vibration, it feels like something. Do you understand? Are you all following me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, it's time for you all to elevate some, you know. Okay. To correspond, this must take place between two or more things. This doctrine of universal application and manifestation, seen, heard, tasted, smelled, and felt things, even planes of things, the various planes of a material, mental, and spiritual universe. It is a universal law under persons, two places, and things. The ancient Egyptians considered this doctrine as one of the most important mental and physical instruments by which mortals are able to pry aside the obstacles which hid from view of the unknown, that which was lighter than the hydrogen atom. But now the once unknown is known as quarks and zeeles. Things have changed a great deal. Its use even more tore aside the veil of spookism, ghostism, Holy Ghost, six ether spirit forces, become real beings, their unseen, unfelt, unproven God, to the extent that a glimpse of the subatomic world, the very face of their creator, has been caught by the hand and now can be examined. So the term supreme being becomes real. A supreme being is still a being, like human being. Supreme being, think about this point. That which is nothing is now many wonderful things. Beginning beyond the hydrogen atom is a new world of energies. That's the spiritual realm. Just as a knowledge of the principles of geometry enables mortals to measure distant suns and their movements while seated in an observatory, so a knowledge of the doctrine of correspondence enables mortals to reason from the known to the unknown made known, when in fact geometry should only be a in other words, if you're in a dark room and there's a woman, and you're in a dark room and there's a woman in the bathroom, and you know it's a woman in the bathroom, but they ask you what race she is, and she sticks her arm out the door and you see it's white, you can say it's a white woman. You don't have to see the whole woman. You can know what is by using your mind. You can know what isn't. You know, if you're in a dark arena and two people are ice skating and the man is spinning her around in a wide circle, and the man is dressed in black against a black auditorium, so you can't see him. She's in a white uniform, but she's leaning back at a 30-degree angle on the ice. You know that there's a man holding her hand because she would fall at that angle. Whether you see him or not, you know he's there. Just like they can tell you there are planets revolving around a distant star by the way the gravity of those planets affect the movement of that star that they orbit around. Do you understand? Or because they can see, when they use a light spectrum, like a camera, that at certain intervals, that star appears to blink whenever one of those planets passes in front of it and block that light for an instant. So they can see, they can tell you what's there even without seeing it, because they can tell you by the action of other things around it. The way it affects other things, do you understand? It's called reasoning.
Reasoning?
All right.
It's called reasoning?
Yes, you have to reason things, you know. That's our master knows. Our master can come to this planet, Kim, and see one single blade of grass and tell you the whole history of Earth. A master can read the whole history of Earth in one single blade of grass. Because because it's green, it's got photosynthesis. That means it's got to be a sun, a star somewhere, and that if it's thriving, it has to have certain elements like water and air. You know what I mean? He can break down. He can break down the history of the planet by looking at a single blade of glass. Okay. So a knowledge of the doctrine of correspondence enables mortals to reason from the known to the unknown made known, when in fact geometry should only be the measurement of geo, the earth, from nothing to thing, from hydrogen to ether, and on and on. The unreal has become real. Mental does in fact exist. Studying a thing reveals many things, like a blade of grass, right? All corresponding in patempta, all, as part of all. It did not stop at the hydrogen atom. It does not stop at your God, Yahweh, Theos, or Allah. They are by your own words in heaven, in which is being opened with the master key, all in all. Patalu Shil Istar, the doctrine of vibration. This is powerful vibration. Dut Sheyu, Rayu Jul Sheyu, Haluk Jul Sheyu, Yehadi, Sheyuat, Kalun Kul, Min, Haluk Men. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This is the key to manifestation. But beyond things is all without movement. In other words, all doesn't vibrate, but sets things into vibratory motion. Okay? Remember, all doesn't vibrate, but sets things into vibratory motion. This doctrine embodies the truth that everything is in motion, everything vibrates, nothing is at rest. Facts which modern scientific discovery tends to verify. And yet this Egyptian doctrine has enunciated thousands of years ago by the masters of ancient Egypt. This doctrine explains the differences between the different manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit, result largely from varying rates of vibration. You know, how you vibing? I can pick up their vibes and know what they think, right? Different from movement from place to place, from the ethereal, which is pure spirit, pure soul, down to the grossest form of matter. All things are in vibration. That's how angels ascend and descend up and down Jacob's ladder. Meaning, if you take a simple substance like water, you know, if you pour it out, it's affected by gravity and it drops to the floor. If you take that water and put it in a container and put it in the freezer and slow down the vibrations, it'll start to take on the appearance of matter. It'll get hard like bones and teeth, right? But if you take that ice and drop it, it's also affected by gravity. But if you put that ice in a pot on a high fire on the stove and it starts melting, when it turns to a liquid, under that high fire, it's going to take to a boil, and you see the water's turning very fast. It's vibrating. The faster it vibrates, the more you convert that liquid into a spirit. You call it steam. And it's no longer affected by gravity because the steam does what? It rises. And the gas expands all over the kitchen. And if you leave the fire on, it gets hot enough, you can convert the spirit into ether. And then when you come out the bathroom and say, what's in the pot? I'm going to say nothing. But it can't be. It's only energy in transit. Energy in transit. So when it turns into ether, you want to bring it back down, Jacob's ladder. You turn the fire off and let the kitchen cool and condensate. And you're going to see little droplets of moisture all over the ceilings and walls because it's expanded all over the kitchen. Now, if you conceivably could go and scrape all those drops up and put them back into a container and put them back in the freezer, you can slow the vibrations down again and turn them back into a man with bones and teeth, a solid matter. You call it ice. That's why crafts appear to be clouds sometimes, because they're coming from another dimension, slowing down, and they're going to take on the magnetic grid, and eventually you're going to see a silver or metallic disc in physical form. Or one of the DVDs I made for you all is called Interdimensional Beings. They're vibrating on such a fast frequency They don't belong to, they're like spirits, not fast enough to be Etherians. That would have to be Euryskians. But it's all about vibration, right?
Yes, sir.
Because if you take two mop handles and chop off the mop part and then pound them into the dirt at an angle against one another, like the top of a letter Y, and then you took 7 large rubber bands the same size and strung them across between those two sticks, the one on the bottom would be the very loosest, and the one at the top would be stretched the very tightest, taut. So if you strummed all 7 of them at the same time, the one on the bottom would vibrate for the shortest period of time, whoa, 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 and you could see it. But the one at the top, because it's stretched so tight, when you strum it, bing, it vibrates so fast, most of the time it's invisible to your eyes. You can't see it because it's vibrating so fast. And it'll resonate or vibrate longer than all the rest of them because it's vibrating faster. So the faster you vibrate, the longer your longevity is. So a spiritual being is going to outlast a physical being. Physical being is as solid and actual as you can get, so slowest and dumbest and thickest. That's the dumbest thing you'd be is physical, carnal. You understand? That's the lowest thing on the scale, and it won't be here long. Whoa! You want ping? You want to be? You want to vibrate a lot faster? That's right. You want to vibrate where you can't even be so fast people can't see you, where you can outpace time, where you can't even die. You just go on and on. That's right.
Sound like a Riskian to me.
That's right. Okay. Okay, this explains the difference between different manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit. Result largely from the varying rates of vibration, different from movement to place, from the ethereal, which is pure spirit, pure soul, down to the grossest form of matter. All things are in vibration. The higher the vibration, the higher the position in the scale. The lower the vibration, the more spiritual as matter vibrates at a lower, slower rate. The particles become further and further apart. The vibration of spirit is at such an infinite rate of intensity and rapidity that is practically at rest. Just as you take a little girl that's got a bicycle, and she turn it upside down and start. Now, when you look at it, you can see all through the wheel. You can stick a stick or your finger all through it, through the spokes. But she starts pedaling it. She can pedal it so fast, just like a fan. It almost seems like it just stops sometimes or starts going backwards. You understand? Because of the rate of vibration. Okay? I'm trying to open you all's mind up to a more profound way of thinking, right?
Yes, sir.
The different form movement from place to place, from the ethereal, which is pure spirit, pure soul, down to the grossest form of matter. All things are in vibration. At the other end of the scale, there are gross forms of matter whose vibrations are so low as to seem at rest. So in fact, they are the same. Between these poles, there are millions upon millions of varying degrees of vibration, from corpuscle and electron, atom, and molecule to worlds and universes. Everything is in vibratory motion, yet nothing is actually moving from its place. It's going around and around, nutation, right? This is also true in the planes of energy and the force, which are but varying degrees of vibration, and not so on with the spiritual planes. These states of existence are between the movement of that which vibrates as the space between the tick and the tock of time, or the rest and the music scale. In other words, when you look at the clock and you try to calibrate time, there's a tick and a tock. The tick is the world that you live in. You got 60 seconds on the clock. That's the tick, 60 seconds. But the tock in between is that's the counter-etheric world, spiritual realm, that lies directly adjacent to the physical plane. That's where the spiritual beings live. They live on the top. You live on the tick. Do you understand? But you have to understand that just because it's a tock, time is still passing, but they only count the tick because they can't see or feel the tock. Just like with music, you have a rest and a beat, a rest and a beat. The beat is what you live on. But the rest it counts too, but they don't count it because they don't hear anything there. You understand? The rest and the beat, the tick and the tock. The tock is the counter-etheric spiritual world that lies directly adjacent to the physical plane. That's where ghosts and angels and all those things exist. They exist on the tock. You exist on the tick. All right. Okay. Ancient Egyptian order students to control their own vibrations as well as those of others. All right. The ancient Egyptian order students learn to control their own vibrations as well as those of others, vibrating on a lower bass texture tone of the past, and travel back to when or rise on the higher pitch of the future, and travel up to when, which was then, and becomes then from now. The masters also apply this doctrine to the conquering of natural phenomenon. In various ways, he or she who understands the doctrine of vibration has grasped the second scepter of power, star mover, right? Master of time and space. Yet in knowing this doctrine on vibrations, know also that all things vibrate. But what of the nothing that exists? They have their own principle, not related by movement. All right? Patalun Shil Yashulat, the doctrine of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has this pair of opposites, like and unlike. That's in the realm of existence, right? That's why on the physical plane you have gender, for example. You have male and female. You have day and night. You have up and down, here and there, now and then, to create the illusion of existence. You follow? When you vibrated on higher planes, you didn't have a gender. You weren't male or female, you were God. But in order to exist on this plane, you had to choose a gender. You had to be either male or female to belong to this realm of duality. Do you understand?
Sure.
That's why when you try to manifest things with your mind, you have problems because you don't understand this doctrine. So what you do when you want a car or a house, you picture that house or car like you do a picture on the wall in 2 dimensions. It has height and width. That's how you picture it. And you say, well, my thoughts are not manifesting. That's because the 3-dimensional reality can't reproduce a 2-dimensional vision. No, you have to imagine it and envision it as 3D. You have to walk around the car, get inside the car, and drive it. When you're inside of it, it's a 3D reality. You understand? Or when you just look at it like a 2-dimensional picture with height and width, then you want it to manifest in a 3-dimensional reality. It can't happen. But these are the things that mortals don't understand. You understand?
Wow.
Yeah. That's how gods create, because they understand all these formulas. Right? There are 2 sides to everything. Wrong, not in quantum physics. All is all. It explains that in everything there are 2 poles, yet these poles stand on one base. Like I told you, temperature on the thermometer, hot and cold on the, all right, are that opposite aspects, and that opposites are really only the 2 extremes of the same thing with many varying degrees between them. Let me illustrate the 2 doctrine of Egypt, hot and cold. Although they are called opposites by the children of light, they are really the same. The differences consisting merely of degrees of the same thing. See, in other words, whether it's 50 degrees or whether it's 30 degrees or 70 degrees, it's still temperature. You understand? Look at your thermometer and see if you can discover where heat terminates and cold begins, right? Because there's no such thing as absolute heat or absolute cold. They both lie somewhere in the 2 terms, hot and cold, simply indicate varying degrees of the same thing, temperature. And that same thing which manifests as hot and cold is merely a form, a mood, a variety, and a rate of vibration. So hot and cold are simply the 2 poles of that which we call temperature. And the phenomenon attended thereupon a manifestation of the doctrine of polarity. The same doctrine manifests in the case of light and darkness, which are not the same things. The difference consisting of varying degrees between the two poles of the phenomenon. I know to some people it sounds like Chinese I'm talking, but those that have been walking with me for a long time, they're starting to get clearer and clearer, right? Where darkness leaves off and light begins is not true, for darkness is eternal. All and light is in darkness. Where there is light, there is a shadow. Where there is pure darkness, there is no light. Darkness is all, never the other way. So they are not and never can be opposite or the same thing. Light has limitations. You can cut the light off, but never blackness or darkness. It always exists. All right. What is the difference between large and small, between hard and soft? Both again are things. What is the difference between black and white in terms of colors, as light and darkness are not colors? Colors primarily are red, blue, and yellow. Combinations or mixtures of these three colors produce the rainbow and on crystal, and is used for a prism and is transparent, meaning you can see through it. I'll be teaching people this doctrine here and use an example. They don't know this is heavy science, quantum physics I'm teaching them, right? What's the matter with that fan? We need that. Okay. And it's used for a prism and is transparent, meaning you can see through it. It's whatever material is made from that registers on the subcolors made from them. Together would give you dark brown inclining to black, yet blackness is simple existence, between sharp and dull, between noise and quiet, between high and low, between positive and negative. Black or dark is all, and all things exist in all, including light or white. White has an end, and it has a beginning, right? The doctrine, blackness has neither end or beginning, it's the face of God. The doctrine of polarity explains these paradoxes, and no other doctrine can supersede it. Yet darkness is outside of this principle or doctrine. It can't be compared. It is all. The same principle operates on the material plane as the physical of cause, not physical of things. It's light, object, action, motion, or movement. Mental is the blackness, mind, the light that shines in every body. Let us take a radical and extreme example, that of love and hate. You see, you can transform, courage and fear are the same things vibrating at different frequencies, like love and hate. They're both emotions. But you can't transform love into courage or fear into hate. You understand? Because they're different. Two mental states apparently totally different, planted in emotion. And yet there are degrees of hate and degrees of love. And the middle point in which you use the terms like or dislike. You know, like you see somebody and I say, what do you think about him or her? And you say, I hate them, or I love her, you know, and what about this one over here? Oh, I don't feel nothing, you know, I don't love or hate, I don't nothing them, right? Okay, and the middle point in which we use the terms like or dislike, which shade into each other so gradually that sometimes we're at a loss to know whether we like or dislike or neither. And all are simply degrees of the same thing, as you will see. If you will but think a moment, and more than this, and consider of more importance of the Egyptian, it is possible to change the vibrations of hate to the vibrations of love in one's own mind. That is one's own mind, not the whole mental and the minds of others. But you can't change love into courage. You understand what I mean? Or fear into hate. Many of you who read these lines have had personal experience of the involuntary rapid transition from love to hate, and reverse in your own case and that of others. That's emotional. Okay. What she's telling me is 10:25. I could go on all night, but you know, I'm serious. I could go on forever. The things that I have to reveal, but you got to work harder to get this message out. It's serious. It's not a joke. This got nothing to do with no being a reptile or a devil, and nothing like no sides, choosing sides. It ain't nothing. It's not like that. This is the only thing that is. Wake up. There's nothing more important than these facts.
Thank you for that reason.
Yeah, I know, because if you ain't got no future, what's the point? I ain't say I'm gonna be dead and gone like a white man. You're gonna throw me in the grave and come in. Well, what's the point? There's no point. This that you call life is just a brief intermission, a shooting star, a brief intermission between two eternities, the eternal past and the eternal future. It's just a brief intermission, just a dot, a blip. Who's gonna be the first one to move a star? Now the sister's gone and she can't see the miracles performed because she knows so much. She can't be shown anything. You understand? Kim, what you got in Florida?
Looks like we got a new caller tonight.
Okay. Very good. New caller. What do you see outside?
Mikael, you want to turn your mic on?
Peace, y'all. How y'all doing?
How you doing, Mikael? Everybody welcome Mikael to class. Welcome home, brother.
Welcome home. I shook.
Welcome home, brother.
Man,
Welcome, Mikael. Welcome home, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Hey, I was
all right,
man, and I was.
What do you see outside, Mikael? What do you see in the sky?
What do I see in the sky?
Yeah, you see a star or the moon?
Yeah.
You looking at it really? Did you go outside? I'm serious about that. If you didn't, I'll wait till you go out there.
Okay.
Thank you. You see, when you tell me that, yeah, I see one, I'm already seeing whether you went out there or not. You understand? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but I'm making a mind link with you.
Okay.
All right. What do you see out there? You see a star above your head?
No, I just see the sky.
You don't see no stars out there anywhere?
It's not completely dark where I'm at right now.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm sorry.
It ain't no stars where I'm at either. That's crazy.
Well, that's all right. It's a new heaven and a new earth, so it's a different sky. All right, who's in the dark right now? I can see a star.
I'm in the dark.
Okay, what do you see? One of you. What do you see? A star? And what are you going to move tonight?
The star. The star.
Okay. One brother at a time. Now, okay.
Go ahead.
Who's going to move the star? Thank you. Okay, brother, he said let you go. Go ahead. What are you going to move? Okay, you see a star? All right. I'm with it. I see it. What are you going to do with it?
Turn it clockwise.
Okay, clockwise. In the name of Amun-Rayay. Everybody else go outside and bear witness to it going clockwise.
It's going counterclockwise.
No, it's going clockwise.
Going clockwise.
Oh, I think it's moving slowly.
Yeah, it is moving slowly. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, it's moving clockwise.
Whoa.
Right.
I can see it.
Now, who's going to be next?
No.
I will.
All right, go ahead. What are you going to move?
The star, see?
Okay, which way are you going to move it? Left, right, up and down? You want to bring it closer? What do you want to do with it?
Make it go counterclockwise in the name of Amun-Rayay.
All right, counterclockwise. That's going to move faster now.
Let's see it. Is this moving?
Yeah, it's moving counterclockwise.
Yeah, it's moving.
Yeah, counterclockwise.
That's right. Yeah. All right. One more person.
Can I go? Can you hear me? This is the Nucleus. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, sister. What you gonna move?
A star. I see a star.
All right, I see it. What are you gonna do with it?
I'm gonna move it in the name of Amun. Raise up and moving up fast.
It's wobbling.
In the name of Amun, it did a little. In the name of Amun, drop down.
See, that matters because I'm inside my house in a dark room with my eyes closed.
Dropping down.
Wow, yo.
Yeah, in the name of Amun,
You
go to the right.
You just heard that it's all in your mind, right?
Yeah.
Right.
In the
All
name
right.
of Amun,
That's
go
it
to
for
the
the.
right.
That's it. Wait a minute. I'm kind of tired tonight. That's it. Look, I love you all, but you need to get these posts out.
I love you.
And make these donations. I love you more. You need to donate to this ministry because we're having problems paying taxes, having a lot of problems. I have this little check that I get once a month, and they done took $600-700 off of it this time. I got to go see. Man, these devils are being devils. They're trying to stop this mission. Don't y'all let that happen. We are one.
Okay.
Meet your authority. Amun-Rayay, Asa. We have to work together. Walk side by side and back to back. Stop
Reasoning.
supporting these devils. We are one.
I just.
Love you.